All right, what's up? Today we are live and we're talking about two totally different things: method of verification and debt validation, or the validation of debt method. And now, why are we going over these two specific, very specific tactics? Well, we are on a whole series really of tactics, right? So that's why we are targeting these two very specific ones, because they are not being done the right way. Now, obviously, I'm not saying you are doing it wrong. I'm saying it's not being done the right way by most people who ask me questions about it. And that is why we're going over this. Now, just so you know, for the debt validation, this is for third party collectors. We're not talking about portfolio recovery. We are not talking about Midland. We're not talking about, Cavalry or second round or anything like that. This is specifically for, hey, if you didn't, pay the hospital when you went to get surgery, or you didn't, pay for your car insurance or whatever, then this is a tactic that you can use so that you are not just disputing directly with the bureaus. If you are ready, then we are going to get to this. Now, you can find this entire series actually in my mini Bible, which I will also share with you. So I'm sharing my screen right now, and this debt validation series, it's a letter series, has 8 letters to it. It's really only 4 parts, but you have the bureaus and you have the collectors, right? We're going to go over the bureau letters first, but you can access all this stuff, all this amazing stuff inside the mini Bible, which you can actually save $100 on it until tonight at like 7 o'clock, right? So the link, let me just go throw that link up here. It's actually going to be lives.ask-kristen.com/Bible. And it's going to take you to this page right here. I normally sell this for $197, but until tonight at about 7 o'clock, you can save $100. Okay. So, all right, let's go and show you this real quick. This actually has 66 tactics, 253 pages, so it's quite a bit. But one of the things is going to be the debt validation, and another one is actually going to be the method of verification. So let's go back and look at this, okay? And another thing is, if you want to see if I can do a credit sweep for you, then I'm going to throw that link up as well. It is going to be my740.com, where you can just go schedule a call with me, and I will see if I can take over your file and do it for you. So let's get to this. Again, a huge warning, which you may have if you've been following me for the 8 years that I've been here on YouTube. Then you would have seen one of my, or the biggest video. It is be careful. It's warning, be careful with the validation of debt method. And why am I saying be careful? Well, it's actually really, really simple. So when you are disputing with these third-party collectors, it's not that big of a risk, right? Now, obviously, yes, can they still sue you? Absolutely. But if it's still within the statute of limitations and you're disputing directly with portfolio recovery and Midland and Cavalry and second round and NCA, they are like, hey, guess what? This person is trying to get their life together. They probably have some money because maybe they're going for a mortgage, right? And they obviously know you have to put a down payment. Let's go after them. You're putting yourself right in the limelight and saying, here I am, come to sue me right now. So I want for you to be careful when you are going over your credit report and you're saying, I'm going to dispute this using this method, this using this method. Please do not, unless it is outside the statute of limitations, meaning for your state, for them to, use the court systems, do not use this for them. This is specifically for the bureaus and for the collectors. Now, why am I saying bureaus? Do you send a validation of debt to the bureaus? No, you don't. You send a unique unknown letter. What is an unknown letter? Well, this one is exactly what you're looking at. So we have the bureaus and we have the actual collectors, right? With the collectors, we're disputing with them first, but we want to be the biggest pain in the ass that we possibly can be. And so we are coming at them from both sides. So after you've sent out letter 1, which I'm going to show you, to the collectors, now you are going to dispute with the bureaus. Now that you have proof that the entire key to this is the failure to enter the notice of dispute, right? And that's actually on letter 3, okay? So Now we have our proof. Now we can dispute with the bureaus. Why are we disputing with the collectors first? Well, the truth behind it is the bureaus are more than likely, going to enter this notice, and you don't want them to. You want to get them on this violation, right? So that's why we're disputing with first collectors. Then on round 2 for the collectors, we're sending out letter 1 for the bureaus, okay? So in this very simple letter, we are saying, and let me just make this slightly bigger because you'd be like, Kristen, I can't see this. Okay, you're going to have your personal information, and it's just going to say, I looked at my credit report, and this account, collector 12345 is unknown. I don't owe anything with this balance or to this creditor. It needs to be removed, right? It's a very, very, very simple letter, okay? Now, why are we using something that seems like, I don't know, maybe a 4th grader wrote it? It's because it needs to be simple, right? Our letter to, the collector is the one that's going to be law heavy and whatnot, okay? And this is letter 2A. So it says, maybe you didn't get the part in my last letter where I said that this, account number, blah, 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 is unknown and that it needs to be removed. Just because you say that it's been verified, it doesn't change the fact that I have no clue where it came from. Delete this immediately, right? Again, this is very, 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 very simple. So we have 4 disputes in this, and this is letter 2B, where you're like, hey, I sent this certified. I didn't even get a response. You have proof that you actually received this. And what's crazy is I'm pretty certain a creditor or collector really needs to be, needs to respond to you, and they didn't. So how can it be verified if they didn't say anything? Because you didn't respond to me, which means they didn't respond to you. Delete it. Okay, so now we have letter 3, and this is a little bit longer, not really, but this is where you can go and you make your CFPB complaint, right? Everything is about timeliness and having a paper trail, okay? You literally had enough time to verify this account, and because you didn't, you need to remove it, okay? You didn't send me one shred of evidence that this is even my account or the ownership or the proof, or you can write it however you want, but now this account is in violation and this is false reporting. You didn't prove that the creditor even responded. You didn't send me anything at all to verify that this was mine. You're being paid to report this by the creditor that I can't even get a hold of, and this is absolutely false information. And then you're going to put your CFPB complaint number. And this is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You can go to, Consumer Financial Protection or whatever it is, consumerfinance.org, whatever, look it up, the CFPB, and you can go and make your complaints. So now we have technically the first part of this, right? I mean, anybody can find one of these letters online, but this is a 4-part series here. And, obviously I had to explain that first part with the bureaus, because a lot of people don't know that it's a very, very, very simple letter to the bureaus, okay? So this is letter 1, and we're using the USC on this one. This is also a letter that you can easily find online. My recommendation is that you send this either with some sort of tracking or certified or priority, some way that you can track this, right? Because again, this is about making a paper trail, okay? So letter 1 is a very simple, you allege that I owe. This is a formal notice that your claim is disputed. This is going to the collector. And then we have letter 2A if they don't respond. We have letter 2B if they do respond. But, obviously they're going to either respond and say that, it's a matter of record, you do owe this. They're not ever going to actually send anything. And even if they do, they're not going to send it and enter the notice of dispute. So you are either going to get them on the fact that they didn't prove anything or that they violated and did not put that notice of dispute. Right. So now we have our letter 3 where we're telling them like, hey, you know what? I don't care that you didn't send me anything, but I do care that you were required by federal law to enter the notice of dispute. Right. And you didn't. And therefore it needs to be removed. OK, so I have retained a copy of your signature and the date of receipt. So again, don't put that on there if you're not sending it certified, as well as a time-stamped series of my credit reports showing that you have violated the Fair Credit Reporting Act Section 623A3 by not placing the disclosure within the required 30-day time period, okay? So you are letting them know that you are not a stupid consumer, that you are aware of your rights. And now, pausing there real quick, you're like, hey, Kristen, you tell me all the time, don't send out templates and blah, blah, blah. This is not a letter to the bureaus. This is a letter to the collector. So unless you want to go and figure out how to write this yourself, it doesn't matter that you are sending them a template. This works. All right. So now, what do you do about the method of verification? Well, pausing there. When it comes to this letter 4 in this series, this is only if you are going to take them to court, okay? So if you are not going to take them to court, do not bother sending this. It's not an intent to sue. It is, hey, I am suing, okay? So let's go over to the method of verification. Now, method of verification, this, I have an entire video on this, and it's actually part of a series. We're not going to talk about how to really write this letter, but it's more of understanding what goes into the method of verification process, because understand this, it's not a letter that you're sending. It is just part of, like the paragraph at the top of the letter, in addition to your factual disputes, right? So you're basically saying like, hey, you claim that this was verified as accurate, but I know for a fact that you didn't do an investigation, and what was the method of this investigation? So let's go and look at this together, okay? So according to the FCRA, the bureaus must respond and include obviously the name, the address, and the phone number, where reasonably available, of the furnisher. And pausing there, you can access this again in the 66 Advanced Dispute Letter Tactics mini Bible. That's exactly what we're looking at right now, right? So the real key to a method of verification request is that in most cases, the account will not have been sufficiently verified. And in most cases, a credit bureau will not respond correctly to a detailed MOV request, again, violating the FCRA, okay? So since all bureaus are, all disputes are converted to numeric codes and transmitted to the creditor whose investigation consists of merely looking up an account to find a match, and sometimes there's no people involved. It's one computer matching against another. The bureau investigation process fails most tests for meeting the standard reasonable investigation, because in reality, it's all automated, it's hands-off, it is done as quickly and as cheaply as possible, and it's designed in such a way that it doesn't actually verify anything, right? So if a consumer is a victim of identity theft and someone has opened fraudulent accounts using their information, then of course the creditor records are going to match the consumer information, right? And that's why it's called identity theft, because the thief used the consumer's identity to open credit accounts. And this is why it's so important to understand how they actually perform these investigations, okay? And it goes into understanding the process and who the bureaus are, who the creditors are, and what business they are actually in. So if a creditor simply checks their database for an account number and the consumer's name using programming code and automates a reply of verified, then nothing has, in reality, been verified, and the bureaus and the creditor are not meeting even minimal standard of reasonable investigation, right? So when a consumer makes a MOV request and the request is specific and detailed, again, asking for the method of verification, right? Understanding your rights and using factual disputes, that is what I'm talking about. The bureau is likely to respond with a canned response that does not address the consumer-specific inquiry. So if this happens, and the bureau has most likely violated the FCRA once again. Everything is about, everything here is about, your rights and understanding how to utilize this, all right? If you want to access the mini Bible, then use the link on your screen, or you can head over and schedule a call with me, and I will see if I can help you. But we're going to go more into the method of verification at a later time, because I have a whole series that we're going to be doing about this. But I want for you to understand that it is not a full letter. It is a statement that you add on top of factual disputes. Okay, so I hope that you have a wonderful day. Smash the like, again, subscribe if you have not done so, and go and check out the mini Bible, and I will see you later. All right, bye.